This is an executive action that does not require any action, actually. All it requires is for people to listen to his recommendations. Sometimes collective voices speak louder than words. Today, President Donald Trump responded to those voices from the Rose Garden. With law enforcement officers by his side, he signed an executive order suggesting new standards for law enforcement.
These standards will be as high and as strong as there is on earth.
President Trump's executive order creates a database to track officers with excessive force complaints, suggests banning chokeholds in most cases, and calls on departments to deploy social workers when responding to the homeless and mentally ill. But the order is a list of recommendations, not legal restrictions. And the president's critics say he spoke little of racial injustice and excessive force and more about his support for the police.
Without police, there is chaos. Without law, there is anarchy. And without safety, there is catastrophe.
Before signing the order, President Trump met with the families of Botham Jean, Tatiana Jefferson, and others impacted by police violence, as well as the mother of Ahmaud Arbery, the 25-year-old black man killed in Georgia while jogging. 3 white men are charged with his murder. Wanda Cooper Jones is Arbery's mother.
I think the president was very receiving. She was very compassionate. He did assure each family member that we would and should expect change.
But many Democrats are saying the president's recommendations do not call for enough change. They want a ban on all chokeholds and to make it easier to sue police for misconduct.
They are not marching in the streets for watered-down proposals that won't hold any officers accountable. And there is nothing about what the president announced today that would hold police officers who break the rules and break the law accountable.
Senator Kamala Harris is calling for the support of a set of reforms originally presented by House Democrats called the Justice in Policing Act, which would, among other things, allow police officers who have violated someone's constitutional rights to be sued.
The only way to meaningfully access police brutality is through comprehensive reforms, including reforms to hold bad officers accountable for misconduct.
Local governments across the nation have already set into motion their own police reforms. In Richmond, Virginia, Mayor LeVar Stoney announced the resignation of the city's police chief, saying it was necessary to move in a new direction. He also announced new police oversight and accountability reforms he wants to put into place.
I'm committed to reimagining public safety.
Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms announced police reforms in the wake of the fatal shooting of Rayshard Brooks. The mayor's order requires officers to de-escalate situations first. They're also duty-bound to intervene if they see another officer using excessive force. And today, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio announced the NYPD will now be required to publicly release body camera footage of certain police encounters within 30 days. Senate Republicans are working on their own set of police reform proposals, led by the only black Republican in the Senate, Tim Scott. Senator Scott from South Carolina told CNN he plans to unveil his proposal tomorrow. He says his plan is in agreement with many of the reforms called for by Democrats.
When you have 70 or 80% of the things in common in the House bill and my bill, we should work to make those things a law. And then the ones that we do not have in common, let's have a conversation.
Senator Scott and Senate Democrats would like to have that conversation very quickly and move on this, but they have not yet convinced the Senate leader, Mitch McConnell, who at this point says he doesn't intend to take this up until after the 4th of July break, which doesn't happen for 2 weeks after the 4th. Let's go back to you.